Welcome back to the channel where I give you my recommendations up front for new streaming content, and then you stay tuned to see if I can validate why I gave it those recommendations. Today, we're going to go and actually take a look at the Four Seasons on Netflix. Now, for target audience members, and by target audience, I'm talking about people that are interested in comedies, rom coms, dramedies, romance. In this particular series, I'm going to suggest that you watch the entire series. Now, if you're a casual fan that none of those other genres appeal to you, or you're not even a particular fan of any of those actors or actresses, I'm still going to recommend that you go and actually watch the first two seasons of this miniseries. Now, stay tuned, and I'll see if I can validate my recommendations for you.
Oh my God!
Put your brights on.
What's wrong with you? I peed a little.
The Four Seasons is a dramedy that premiered on Netflix in May of 2025. The miniseries contains 8 episodes that run about 30 minutes apiece, and it has a star-studded cast that includes Tina Fey as Kate, Will Forte as Jack, Steve Carell as Nick, Coleman Domingo as Danny, Carrie Kinney as Annie, and Marco Calvani as Claude. So there you have a cast. Now here's the premise according to IMDb. 3 suburban couples vacation together each season, but tensions arise when one couple splits up and the husband brings a much younger woman on subsequent trips. So this series is actually an adaptation of the 1981 film by the same name, which ironically enough has Alan Alda as the star in the 81 series, and he actually has a cameo in this particular series. That being said, this series is meant to look at long-term relationships and then how it affects us as we get older, with people changing and relationships change. And then what does that mean? What does it take to go and actually make sure that those relationships work as time and life goes by? While anyone can find meaning in this series, I gotta say that it's probably going to speak more towards people that are 30 and older. This series has a lot of different components to it that you will go and actually recognize in some of your other favorite series or movies out there. For me, I go ahead and actually liken to some components of Friends, The White Lotus, Why Did I Get Married, Couples Retreat, and The Breakup. Again, those are some other types of content that you will go and actually find some very similar themed types of inspiration, content, genres that go ahead and actually takes inspiration to this particular series. Now, for me, I am slightly over 30. Okay, I'm well over 30. Okay. But being over 30 on there goes and actually puts me right in that demographic of being able to look at this series in a certain way. But I also like realistic portrayals of life experiences and their effects on people. I really like drama that's really heavily character based and is very realistic to life circumstances. Now, I'm definitely not a big romantic person, and rom-coms kind of like are hit or miss for me. But if I look at this cast, I am a fan of Steve Carell, Tina Fey, and Will Forte. So if I'm going to go and actually give you perspective of if I'm a target audience or if I'm a casual, I'm going to slightly hedge myself to go and actually being the target audience for this. Why is that important? Because you should always know the perspective of your reviewer when taking into consideration the recommendation. So there you have my bias here. If you like how that sounds, do me a favor, click like, share, subscribe. And now let me get into reviewing the first 2 episodes I watched of the 4 seasons. This was a very quick montage to kind of start episode 1, and they kind of have you with that general movie type of montage to kind of give you glimpses into the characters' lives and their characteristics and things like that of them getting ready to go on this trip. They don't spend too much time within what they were doing beforehand. It's let's get on this trip and let's get to it, which I can kind of appreciate on there. And even if it's very formulaic, I can at least appreciate it. And for me, honestly, I don't have that many friends that I'd want to go on actually vacation with, so I don't know if I can really relate to this whole circumstance, but that's neither here nor there. Now, when I'm looking at the different episodes or whatever, I could go and actually tell you like some of the scenes that took place in the woods, and this is around about towards the latter half of episode 1. They were very poignant for anyone that's in like long-term relationships where people are talking about their feelings, their thoughts, and things of that nature. So there's definitely some very good lines in here, some very good deliverance of the lines, and I like that. There's also a boat scene at the end that kind of, it gives you optimism, and then there's kind of confusion at the end of it. It's very hard to go ahead and actually tell you without spoiling it, but they were just some interesting choices made in how they went going about that particular first episode. It actually had a very solid ending that really begs to watch that next episode if you like the story. So I like the fact that the first episode sets up the second episode very well, and at least in the aspect of kind of taunting you to the next one, it's there for you on that one. In the second episode, we kind of get a realization of the end of episode one, and it's hilarious how they kind of shut that off with it being like more hilarity, and it was a little bit more intense and things like that. So they kind of ended episode one with episode two kind of when it actually ended it, and it was really effective. The house conversations were pretty good with like developing feelings, and again, without spoiling anything of kind of telling you what this is, there are much of this second episode is within the beach house that's there, and there's various different conversations going on throughout, and there's some very good conversations talked about the relationships and the characters and all that kind of good stuff, and I really appreciated some of the dialogue there. The episode at the end was very good. There was a good build-up at the end of episode two, and again, they did a very effective job making you want to watch the next episode and give you a reason to tune into that, and I can really appreciate that. So those are my observations for watching the first two episodes, so you can kind of get a feel for what's in there. Was it entertaining? Did it kind of spur you on, things like that nature? So that's what I got for that. Now let me go and actually factor in my two compelling categories on there. So in regards to storytelling, I like the pacing and the setting of this particular series. Outside of the first 10 minutes of montage, I was kind of like, again, formulaic and things of that nature. They got everybody in place, and then the two episodes just were entertaining. They gave you just enough to want to get a little bit of laugh, get a little bit of character development, understand what people's motivations are, get a little bit more understanding of why they are the way that they are, what makes it funny, and kind of keeping that balance between the drama and the comedy there. And it was a very good pacing effort there. And we didn't spend too much time on any one particular scene. Now, I don't always go and actually relate to these types of things because it's very much, these are very yuppie type people, right? So they're at like lake houses, they could go and actually take multiple vacations a year, things like that. And so sometimes that could be a little off-putting or things like that, but it was actually, it didn't seem off-putting because they entertained me. They told the stories well, and they were very well related. So even if you don't come from money, you could go ahead and actually appreciate where these folks are coming from. And the best part of this is that everybody was given time to breathe, stand out a little bit. Everybody got some scenes in there. And that's hard to do within two episodes, and they're only about 30 minutes apiece. That's hard to do with like a cast of like 6 main characters and, of course, some supporting cast or what have you. But they actually did a very good job of actually doing the storytelling. Everyone in this series feels very well cast. The couples play off of each other very well, and the friend dynamics are very similar, meaning that, even within interpersonal conflicts and things like that between the different fans. So some people gravitate more to the others and all that kind of good stuff. You can kind of see that. And it was very well thought out the way they did it. I couldn't really pick out a standout where I normally go and actually say like, hey, this character, these couple of characters kind of really stood out from the rest of the cast, because everybody being cast well carried their performance and played off of others very well. So this is one where everybody kind of rounded everybody else off, and it was really nice. The only detriment to this one is that supporting characters really get time to shine. I mean, the main cast was on the screen for like 95% of the time as far as the line deliveries and things of that nature. So we really don't know if the supporting cast is going to really elevate anything, but for the acting of what we actually saw, it was a very good experience there. Overall, I was entertained both emotionally for the characters and the story, and then the funny one-liners and funny situations that things are put into. That's really the ultimate thing of watching a series like this is, are you entertained by it, and how are you entertained? If I'm watching a dramedy and I go ahead and actually like the comedy but not the drama, or like the drama but not the comedy, it will still be a decent story. Here, I love both elements of it, and that is really all you can ask for when you have a series like this. This not blatant toilet humor. Is not trying to get you to go and actually laugh over the top or anything like that. And it's not trying to pull on your heartstrings with the drama or anything like that. It's just very realistic, relatable things that you can really, really go ahead and actually pull for, understand, and entertain by it. I don't really actually have any negatives for this particular series. And why, don't get me wrong, it's not like perfect. It's not like the best well-made series I've ever seen or anything like that. But there are no negatives. If you're picking out negatives here, they're going to be nitpicks. And I don't choose to do that. I just kind of tend to really show you if this is worth your time. So it's definitely one of those series that's worth your time. I guess the only drawback to this is just really who's going to be able to relate to it. Not to say that anyone under 30 couldn't relate to this, but I think that in order to relate to this, you would have had to have some history with long-term relationships. And typically people under 30 don't have a lot of experience with that, but you could. And you could go and actually be empathetic to that. So I would encourage you that if you have that romantic bone in your body, or you like rom-coms, or you're about the life of like seeing one of these 6 main actors or actresses in various different things on there, you're the target audience. You're going to want to binge it all out. And again, for those casuals that are just kind of checking and see if this is worth your time, I'm going to tell you it's worth at least watching the first 2 episodes to see if it's your thing. So that's what I have for the 4 seasons, now showing on Netflix. Check it out.
I'd like to make a toast to friends, family, and finding your soulmate.
You stay for the entire review. I appreciate you. I really do. As you continue to see, the channel is slowly growing, and we're going to keep that same energy going on. That means that you need to click like, share, subscribe, anything like that on a positive tip of things. If you need to go and actually right below critique some stuff, I'm down with that too. If you need another convincing, if you're going to subscribe to the channel or not, you can watch one of these videos that the algorithm seems to think that you would like of mine. But until next time, I'll holler at you. Take care of yourself.
Now that's a happy ending. Or is it? Because everything's over now. And all that's left is you and the infinite void.